Hello, I'm Karen from theneedlefelter.com. In this video, we're tackling the question, how do I straighten or clean up my needle felted edges? This is FAQ number 7, and I'm going to share tips and tricks for achieving professional looking edges. Everything I use in this video will be listed in my blog post and the pinned comment below. Let's get started. When would you use a clean edge? Well, the applications are nearly endless. Most often you'll want them for ears, like the edges of the ears on my bunny. You might want a clean edge on flippers or something like the tail fin on my narwhal. You might be making feathers, clothing, or other accessories for your needle felted characters. And by the way, this bunny and the narwhal are PDF tutorials I designed, and they are both available in my Etsy shop. So why does a straight edge matter? To start, we can take a close-up look at these felt sheets from our last video. They have messy edges. If I wanted to use them as is, I could cut the edge, I could fold it over, or I could felt it down. So let's say we want that perfectly sculpted felted edge. I'm going to show you how to achieve that. To me, there are right ways and wrong ways to create edges. I do not suggest that you hold your felted piece between your fingers and try to felt the edges. You can do it, but it's very risky and you will most likely poke your fingers. Will leather finger protectors like these help? In my experience, no. I'll show you why. Felting needles go right through them. This one's a little bit thicker. I can still stick my needle right through it. So to me, these just promote a false sense of security. And this is one more reason I recommend you never take your eyes off your work when you're needle felting. It's the only way to know exactly where your needle is and where your fingers are. Let's take a look at some tools that will help. I'm going to show you a few options from the least to the most effective. So the first one is to use 2 pieces of cardboard. I marked mine for even edges because I would always end up throwing it away. What you do is you put your piece between the 2 pieces of cardboard, and then you use your needle to felt. It works, but it can be a little bit difficult to hold everything in place. Plus, depending on what type of cardboard you use, the needle can catch on it. You can see even with this one, there are needle marks where my needle caught on the edge of the cardboard. You also have to be careful when you're felting that your needle doesn't kind of jump the edge and poke your finger. Another option is to use 2 plastic gift cards. This works better than the cardboard as the needle doesn't catch on the edges. So you put your piece between the 2 gift cards and go ahead and stab your edge down. They can be a little difficult to hold because they're smooth plastic and they tend to be a little slippery. So a good solution, but not the best. The Sarafina Grab and Stab Finger Protector works great. I love the thick leather. You will break your needle before you stick it through this. The lip also helps protect your fingers. And the way you use this is you hold it like this. You put your piece down in between and felt. My only issue with this is the surface of the leather gets beat up over time and sheds. And this is due to your needle hitting the sides of it. And then you'll get these little pieces of leather in your felt. I've tried oiling it, sanding it down, and trimming it, but it still sheds. That said, they do last a long time. This is my second one, so the interior isn't that bad yet. The first one I had to throw away, but I did get a lot of use out of it. So it's the best purchase tool I've been able to find. That leads me to my final and my favorite solution for edges. This is a DIY tool I made out of a piece of plastic sheet. I saw something like this on a Japanese needle felters channel a long time ago. For the life of me, I cannot remember which channel it was. I went back looking for it and could not find it. But I didn't invent this. The one I saw had folded over edges and was made of a thinner clear plastic than this. I'm assuming the person in the video made it, but maybe not. Either way, I immediately thought I need one of those and I'm going to figure out how to make it. Let's take a closer look. I love that it's clear. It has the folded edges to protect your fingers, and the needle doesn't catch on the plastic. I hold mine in my left hand because I have my needle in my right hand. But if you're left-handed, you just flip the tool. To use it, you put your felted piece inside, and because it's clear, you can put it in deeper because you can see it. And then insert your needle between the two pieces of plastic. Kind of pinch it a little bit to hold the wool in place, and you just felt your edge. Open up the tool and turn your piece as needed, and then continue felting until you're happy with it. I love it because you can see the shape as you're felting. And the other thing that's great about it is if your needle does slip out, you've got this flap to protect your thumb or your fingers. So usually it will just kind of hit that, not your finger. Let me show you how I made mine. You'll need a reasonably sturdy piece of plastic sheet. Because it was from a well-used planner, my plastic is kind of beat up, but it doesn't matter. You just need it to be thick enough that your needle won't poke through. The first thing you want to do is measure and cut out the rectangle. My rectangle is 9 by 4 inches. I cut one out of a piece of printer paper first just to check that it fit my hand. And then when I was happy with the size, I just cut the plastic out with a pair of scissors. Now if the edge of the plastic feels sharp, you can just kind of run a piece of fine sandpaper over it. Maybe knock those sharp corners off. I put my plastic on a cutting mat so that I can see right through it for the measurements. And I'm going to use my awl to score each fold. You want the score line on the outside of your bend. So if I'm bending my plastic down, I want to score the top. If I'm bending my plastic up like this, I want to score the bottom. So here's where I placed my bends. I put a bend down at 1 inch, and that's to cover my fingertips. Then I put a bend up at 3.5 inches. That's this back piece. And then I put a bend down at 3 inches, and that leaves me this fold to cover my thumb. I like to do my bends one at a time, so I'll show you how I score them. I know it's hard to see because of the clear plastic. Okay, so I'm gonna have a 1 inch bend. My piece is right here. Just going to line this up. Because my plastic is relatively thick, I made my score line twice. So I took my awl over the plastic 2 times. I'm not trying to cut the plastic, just sort of indent it. So do a test with a scrap of your plastic to see how much or how little pressure you need to score it. You want it to bend, not break or slice through. So you can see I've got a score line now from my awl. Since the score line is on this side, I'm going to bend down. So I want to carefully, I'm going to actually do it on the mat, carefully start to bend that down. And it'll bend right along that line. I'm just taking my time and carefully press it down. So that's this bend. Now the next bend I want to make is going up. So I want to flip it. I don't want to score it on, I scored it here on this side. Now I want to flip it and I want to score it on the back because I want this to bend up. So I'm going to score it on the back. And this bend is 3.5 inches. It doesn't have to be perfect. Let me move this over a little bit. So I'm just going to put that about 3.5 inches is about right here. And try to keep it sort of straight. And I'll score that again twice. Got my score line there. So then I'm going to bend this one up again because we're making this shape. So I'm bending this one up. I just want to carefully, I'm not going to bend it quite all the way. I just want to get it started because I do have to do another bend on this side. Okay, so now I've got these two bends. I just need one more. So this one is about 3 inches up from this edge, and because this bend is going down, I want my score line on the top. So I'm gonna line it up on the edge, and then I want to go at about 3 inches. Place my score line. Now I've got my score line there, and then I want to carefully bend that down. And now I can fold this a little bit better. Now that I've got all my bends in, and my tool is done. So this is my secret to creating a smooth edge. Trust me, it will make felting neat edges so much easier. And that's it for this FAQ. I hope you found it helpful and it inspires you to felt something. And if you don't felt, make something. See you next time.